What's up, y'all? So a few of you are asking if I'd read something, and I just had a tap-in tune-in session with a friend of mine, Tina, and she's amazing. And in this, it was talking about guided writing. With guided writing, you write something at the top of the page, and you kind of just let the pen or the pencil take the wheel, as we talk about. So I did that, and I started writing, and I titled it Knowledge versus Knowing. And partway through here, my thought changed, and I ranted and let out some things that maybe I hadn't let out yet. And so I'm going to get vulnerable with you all, and I'm going to share some of this for you. And I will let you know as I was writing this at what point everything changed. Knowledge versus knowing. I know a little of something about a lot, and obviously that's considered knowledge. What is the difference between knowledge and knowing? By first gaining knowledge, we receive the first aspect of the greater culmination of an all-knowing. We gain knowledge through our education, upbringing, friends, family, and overall life. Then you have intuition. This little voice, this little flame deep inside of you, which is trying to lead you on your way, leading your path and helping you make decisions. Instead of intuition, we choose ego and the crowd. What will everybody else think if I follow my heart? This is where things change. It is incredibly difficult to be put in all those horrendous situations, and I am so incredibly sorry you had to experience the things that you did. You are here today because of the life you lived. If you didn't experience a violently broken home like you did, you wouldn't understand. If you didn't spend a large part of your adolescence in prison. If I didn't experience the neglect of being a little boy in a trap house. My brother and I would get locked out of the apartment in Bennington while they binge smoked crack. And in the wintertime, we stayed inside for the festivities. My dad's plug for a while was this guy named Psycho. A black dude from Schenectady. He used to bring my brother and I Happy Meals. There were weekends that Psycho spent more time with my brother and I than my father did. If I didn't experience begging my mom not to bring us to my father's because of the bullshit my brother and I endured, well, if I didn't experience that heartbreak, then I wouldn't understand. And no, she didn't listen. She didn't want 3 boys on the weekend, so she would bring us no matter what. She always had relationships to chase, and my father's crack problem wasn't her problem on the weekends. She needed freedom. Of course, it wasn't all bad. There were plenty of good times, but addiction was always present on both sides of my family. Alcohol, narcotics, prescription pills. It was quite commonplace. After I turned 15, I started deciding where I wanted to be. That came after my dad and I first fought in the dooryard in front of his whole work crew. We exchanged a few punches while his work crew backed down the driveway. The fight ended after I broke my father's arm. I then got to listen to him get drunk and cry to his girlfriend about how I kicked his ass. My jaw has popped every time I eat ever since that day. We got along most times, and I loved him very much, but our relationship was tumultuous. He experienced a life of trauma, and my heart breaks for my father in that regard. In the other regard, he had free choice and free will. He chose his lifestyle, and that was his path. We are not responsible for anybody else's path. People must do the work for themselves. It's not something that can be faked or cheated. Being an empath, I have the ability to feel energy. I honed this ability with my upbringing. This helped me in a way, sometimes allowing me to read danger. Most times, unfortunately, it was to my detriment as a child. As the eldest son of a very traumatized, angry, and alcoholic mother, I got to absorb a lot of her bullshit. And while she was working all hours to support children and random men, I got to be the one pulled into the middle of everything. Some of my mom's men didn't speak very good English, and my first official stepfather was from El Salvador. Then there was this guy from the islands, St. Lucia, this little black dude. He was built like a mighty mouse. I liked him, but I became his personal psychologist. For a while, on top of all the other nonsense, he would meant to be about my mom because my mom was controlling. Come to think of it, every one of my mom's failed relationships always leaned on me. Her and my father both had an addiction to trauma mating. After a life of violence, poverty, war, death, and chaos, it's no wonder I was an alcoholic who became trauma mated with numerous women who I knew would be failed, but I sacrificed myself for the potential of others. That is the programming with trauma. You never follow your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner child. Your inner child follows its ego. An ego built on the traumatized egos of others. And once again, like a snake eating its tail, the cycle is looped and just feeding itself. This is why trauma breeds trauma. The only way we help each other is by helping ourselves. Put the fucking bottle down and get your health on track. The single most important thing you can do to liberate yourself. The single most important thing you can do to liberate yourself is getting healthy, both mentally and physically. You are much more easily manipulated when you are addicted, depressed, overweight, and unhealthy. The American diet is designed to make you sick. Many ingredients in American food are outlawed as poison in Europe, among with third world countries. Yet we will continue to use them in food here. Why? For control. We are reactive. We are not proactive. Proactively take control of your life. You just have to stop making excuses, stop feeding the system, and move with good intent. Shine with a light, and don't let them dim you out. With a little heart at the end. So, when I started writing that's not how I intended it to go. And it obviously evoked a lot of emotion. And even as I was reading that at first, it started to evoke some emotion in me. It started choking me up. And even though I composed myself, I'm not stuffing it down. I'm moving through this energy and healing through this. More people need to focus on your trauma from your childhood, the programming that you were programmed to believe in this repetitive, vicious, traumatic, toxic cycle, and think outside the box. Critically think. Open your eyes. The answers are all around us. Knowledge is power. I educate myself because I do not want to be controlled. One thing that nobody can control is your brain, is your mind, is your conscious, unless you let them. Don't let them. Keep your power. I love y'all. Stay wild, stay free. I appreciate you watching this entire video from the bottom of my heart. I love you. Be you. I appreciate you. Thank you.